How can I overcome the negative feelings I have about my in-laws for the sake of my husband and my children?
So my first response before Will responds is, tell me about your negative feelings. What are they?
I mean, there's a little bit of resentment because I feel that sometimes they simply do not care about our rules and wishes when it comes to certain topics, especially revolving around our kids.
Give me an example or two.
All right. So, main one that's been bugging me a lot is, and this has been ongoing for years, is the amount of gifts my daughter receives. At the beginning, it was just holidays and birthdays, but I might sound a little bit ungrateful here, but this is like nothing you've ever seen before in terms of the amount of gifts. And in the beginning, my husband has asked very nicely for it to be reduced. But then after that, it got to a point where he had to ask very not nicely, to the point where a couple of Christmases ago, there was a little bit of drama. He had made her cry, but we thought at that point that we had gotten through to her. And I say we, but in reality, it was him doing most of the talking. But actually, that did not change much, and it turned into mostly gaslighting, telling him this is her right as a grandma to do these things and to drop it. And there's a reason I asked my question the way I did, and it's because I kind of given up on getting her to change her behavior, and I'm trying to find ways to.
Yay! High five! Way to go!
I'm trying to find ways for me to deal with it because I'm becoming this naggy wife that I don't like, and I don't want my husband to have to deal with me complaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know any husband loves a nagging wife. All right, so Will, tell me what's going on in your world.
So from my perspective, I'm on board with my wife, and I support her completely, and I feel the same way in a lot of ways. I construed the situation to be my parents were, and it's more my mother, okay? My father is just tells her all the time, but she doesn't listen. So I construed the situation to be more about birthdays and events, and I put my foot down hard. I made her cry on a Christmas.
Did you make her cry, or is that her move? And has that always been her move?
Well, no, her move was always, I'm the matriarch. Listen, shut up. This is it. And I said, no, I'm not taking that. And I went over the hill, and I put my foot down and said, these are my kids, and these are our rules. And since then, Christmases and birthdays and everything, I give her reminders weeks ahead, and I tell her, hey, keep it calm. And she does communicate with me a little bit better before Christmases and New Year and birthdays and stuff like this. But it turned into every week that she would see us, there's a new something, a little gift, a little thing.
So why let me hop in here. She's been doing this to you your whole life, right?
Not just in even material things, but food. If it's not an excess, then it's not good enough.
That's right. But what I'm saying is, she has blown through your feelings and emotions and what you need and what you want your whole life.
Yeah.
Right? And so can I just say, on behalf of husbands everywhere and dads everywhere, and this is going to sound trite, I'm not playing, and I know people might roll their eyes listening to this. I'm being very serious. I'm proud of you for standing up to her, because that was not easy, was it?
No.
A manipulative, overbearing, self-declared matriarch is every bit as pompous and arrogant as a self-proclaimed patriarch. I'm the man of this house. It can be just as obnoxious when it's, I'm the matriarch of this house, and you've been dealing with that crap your whole life, and you stood up on behalf of your wife and your kids and you, and I'm proud of you. Okay?
Thank you.
You did not make her cry. That was her move number 2. That's when a bully gets punched in the nose and then goes running to the teacher and says, he hit me, forgetting the fact that that bully has been messing with you for months and years on end, right? So crying, just that's manipulation tactic part 2. It's just another way to
I said as much to my father after she cried, and he expressed and said he felt the same way, that he'd been rolled over his whole life.
There you go. But here's the deal. He's taken that, and that's the life he's chosen to live. You can't impact that, right? And so here's your next move. Y'all have to begin to not speak your boundaries. You have to begin to live them. And what that means is she has opted out of y'all seeing her every week. That's a choice she made. And your dad has chosen this life. And so because he's chosen to attach himself to somebody like this, he has chosen to not see your kids. And y'all are going to have to grieve the fact that every young kid needs grandparents that are on their side. And y'all don't have that. How does that sound?
That's difficult.
How come?
Our eldest daughter absolutely loves their grandma.
Of course she does. I would expect a kid who every time they see somebody tells them the greatest thing ever, shoves a bunch of presents in their face, feeds them a bunch of sugar and junk. I expect a kid. It's their parents' job to keep them safe. And if you guys have identified, we're tired of this. The other thing you can do is every time you get a gift, you can throw it in the trash on the way out. You can set it down on the front porch and leave it. But you have to begin to take action, I guess is what I'm saying. And you can't. My guess, Will, is in your heart and mind. I hear that little baby. I love that sound. Will, I can imagine you're refusing to do to your kids what was done to you, right? I get that.
I mean, I married a minimalist at heart. She wants to have that little small car, and I'm used to being the only child, spoiled with everything, and
sure.
So I let her lead in terms of what we want in the house, and she's the one who keeps me in check from overbuying things. So yeah, I'm totally on board with that mantra.
Okay, and minimalism isn't always right. So you guys sitting down and deciding, what do we want our house to feel like? What kind of world do we want to create together? There's always going to be a push-pull there, right? I'm a little bit of a prepper. My wife's a little bit of a rationalist. And then some weekends I want to be a minimalist and I want to throw everything away. So it's always like a push-pull, right? It's a teeter-totter. And that's a good marriage, right? Y'all both holding each other in check. When Cindy's like, hey, we'll just strap the kids to the roof because I want to drive a 2-seater. She needs a Will in her life to say, hey, we need a Highlander, right? We need at least a couple of seats. And then the other side of it is you're like, hey, let's buy everything. And she's like, hey, that's not wise for us financially, space-wise, and all that. So that's all good. That's all good, that push-pull and that tension. You don't want a tension-free marriage, right? Y'all want to be always negotiating and navigating these things together. The bigger deal sounds like, because Cindy, tell me if I'm wrong, this isn't just about gifts. Because a mother like this eyeballs you every time you walk in the house, doesn't she?
Absolutely.
A mother like this makes sure you know how much better a job she did raising her precious Will than you'll ever do raising your kids.
Well, she's not so much of a show-off, but she definitely took control of a lot of things.
That's what I mean.
Our wedding. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, Will, in many ways, this is about Cindy feeling like she's still competing with another woman.
Yeah, that's something to settle in here for sure.
And it sounds like you are, and Cindy, I want you to, and I know you have, but I just want to say it out loud. I want you to understand the Herculean effort Will is putting forth in taking on his mom. That's a hard deal. And for you, it's like, I'm the wife. You're right, and that's still hard, right? And Will, I have to lean on you a little bit more and say, all right, it's time to start acting. And that's going to come with tears from your kid. That's going to come with dramatic tears from your mother-in-law. That's going to come with your dad having to make some hard decisions.
So here's where I'm going to interject and say that my parents have plans to retire on the other end of the country.
Okay.
And I want to know, from your perspective, is this something that I need to rock the boat on, or do I let my mother get away with it for the next couple of months and hope that the problem kind of solves itself because she'll be on the other end of the country?
I think there's some merit to that. I would love for you to send me an email when they actually move, because I don't think they will.
Okay.
If she does, because it again, I hate talking about people's mothers, right? That's so dicey, right? And I feel scummy even doing this. It's like I'm breaking every code I learned in recess in 4th grade, right? A person with this limited scope of power. And what I mean by that is she has already exerted dominion over your dad. She had you under her thumb forever. And then when you brought this other woman into the fold, your wife, she was like, oh, I'm going to run your marriage. I'm going to run your wedding. I'm going to run your kids. I'm going to run their gifts. It's rare that a person like that just withdraws what limited scope of influence they have on the world, right? And so by moving across the country, she's going to go back to just running the one person she's already exerted dominion over. So if she does do that, yeah, I mean, this problem solves itself. But, well, it does temporarily.
Amazon exists in dropshipping.
Do what?
Amazon exists in dropshipping.
Yeah,
I am that scared that we're going to get that.
Throw it in the trash, dude. Just don't open it. I mean, if she wants to just burn her net worth to the ground, go for it. Or don't throw it in the trash. That's bad form. Take it to a local shelter. Those kids don't have any toys. Take it to your local church and drop the toys off. Your 3-year-old doesn't get a vote. And I don't mean that to be ugly or mean, but your 3-year-old doesn't get to decide the direction and influence on your home. Of course she loves grandma. Grandma buys her everything. Every day's Christmas. Every week is Christmas, right? So of course the 3-year-old's going to love that. Question I want you to ask yourself is grandma walking kid around, teaching kid things, showing your daughter things because she's trying to open your daughter's eyes to wonder and love and fun? Or is she saying, look what I bought my daughter. Look what I bought my granddaughter. Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did. And my guess is you've lived that and then you're watching it be repeated and it's hard to decouple it. All I have to say is, to answer your original question, Cindy, your feelings are real and that's okay. Choosing to nag, not a good idea. It's not going to work. Choosing to complain all the time, it's not going to work. It's you and Will getting away for just half a day and saying, okay, our lives are all different now because we have 2 kids, under 3. So what do we want this house to feel like and look like? And then we get to decide that. And that's going to be how many toys we have in the house. That's going to be how many times we go down the street to see grandma and grandpa. That's going to be how we interact with cousins. It's going to be, how do we want this house to feel? And then we're going to reverse engineer our boundaries that way. And you guys have spoken your boundaries. Will, you've gone to battle for your family, and I love it. Now it's time to begin acting. And yes, if they actually move across the country in a few months, fair. But you will deal with this again at some point. And maybe that's the space you need to begin to get a little stronger, a little stronger. I just want you to be prepared for it's going to feel bad when mom calls and says, I don't feel good because of you. You cut us off. You made us leave. You won't let me love my grandkid. And it's you. That's going to hurt, man. And it's hurt your whole life. That's part of the adult growing up process that just stinks, man. I hate it for you. Thank you guys for the call. Y'all are in a good spot. Don't stop communicating. Cindy, commit to stopping the nagging and complaining, because those two things never work. And Will, keep standing firm for your family. Now, y'all stand firm together and say, okay, we added another kid to this crazy house. We're wiping the deck. We got a new marriage yet again. What do we want this thing to look like and feel like?